Hey, I have a new project I want to demonstrate. Uh, it's a kit, and I got it pre-built as Christmas present. And you may wonder what all the other things about. Well, you will see shortly. The kit is an electronics kit that lets you build your own FM radio. Yes, it's FM only, and it even says FM radio at the side here. And it comes with manuals. There's one in Chinese. There is one in English, which is rare because usually these kits use manuals in Chinese. And it comes with two other pages. These are printer size, normal printer size pages. One of them contains the schematic of the radio, which I will not show. Hence, I evaluate the idea from whoever created this and don't want to show the schematic. So what I want to show, or what I can show, is the PCB layout. So this seems like it's the kit number FM 3703. FM 3703. The radio kit, like I said, did come to me pre-built. I didn't have to solder in any single component into it. And so due to this fact, I just could plug it in. It has the connectors here. It runs off 12 volts, which is four times on one side, four times on the other side. It makes 8 times AA battery, fresh battery. And then on the output, you can connect either a headphone or a speaker. It has a powerful audio amplifier, and it runs with 12 volts, like I said. Here is the on-off switch, and it features a lot of fancy functions. Here's the digital frequency readout. You will see that in a moment. This steampunk-like meter thingy here shows you how strong the received signal is. This lets you switch from stereo to mono or from mono to stereo. Here is AFC. It even has AFC. AFC is automatic frequency control. It helps you tune in a station. So if you are tuning over the band and get close to a station, the radio automatically will align the frequency to be set on the station you could receive. And here is a mute function. And what the mute function does is, if enabled, it eliminates the loud hissing and static between the stations. So usually on a radio, if you dial it to an empty spot, you have this loud static noise. And if this is activated, the static noise will disappear and you will only hear the FM stations. I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to pull out the aerial a little bit, at least to a degree, because it does help with the performance of the radio, as you can imagine. And I'm going to show you some stations, and the first one I'm going to show you is a official station. Let me see if we can get it. Yes, we can get it. It's an official station here, but there is also this local station, which is really strong signal-wise. At least it uses to be. Let's check out some stations. There's one. This one plays classical music, and I would like to show you how it sounds. But as you can imagine, playing music over YouTube, I know what happens if I do that. So you can see this red LED coming on. Let me detune it. This one here. As soon as I tune in a station, this comes on, and this tells you it's broadcasting in stereo. There is also a station which has just blah, 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 blah news, and it's not in stereo, it's in mono, and we can at least listen to this station, if I got it right.
Die allermeisten Mittelständler gaben immerhin an, die höheren Kosten abfedern zu können. 14% erklärten aber, wegen der Mehrbelastung finanziell überfordert zu sein, so die KfW weiter. Gold ist so teuer wie noch nie. Das Edelmetall ist heute zwischenzeitlich auf ein neues Allzeithoch gestiegen. Tobias Brunner in unserem Börsenstudio. Was treibt den Goldpreis denn an?
Da gibt es nicht den einen Grund, sondern verschiedene Faktoren.
As you can very well notice, the thing is working very well. So just like a regular radio, but there are so many integrated circuits in it which contain a lot of transistors, and the circuit is very complex. I think you can imagine it's self-explaining that it works well. So when I got the kit, I, of course, as you know me, played around with it, like test how sensitive it is and how well it works. And I noticed a few things about it, and I want to share them with you. First of all, this works just like any regular radio. It means it converts down the FM signal on a so-called intermediate frequency. And it uses this intermediate frequency to then detect the audio, the sound, and feed it through the other side. So it's clearly separated. This side here is all radio frequency stuff, and this side here is all audio stuff. We have the audio amplifier for the speaker, and we have the stereo decoder, so you can listen to stereo signals. Playing around with it, I noticed it's actually not that good. I would expect it to be a super good performing radio with super sensitivity and everything super fancy, hence alone the huge amount of components on the circuit board, but actually it only picks up strong stations, and if there is a weak station, all you get is a weird noise. And think of the noise as if you have two signals broadcasting on the same frequency and they are competing whichever is the strongest signal. I can prove that, but first let me prove the theory that it does produce this 10.7 megahertz. So I have my receiver here. As you can see, it's set on 10.7, and if I get it close to the circuit,
Beitrag werbefrei und ohne weitere Kosten. Jetzt die ARD Audiothek-App downloaden.
14:45
BR24.
as you can see, having my receiver close, it's like a small transmitter. I have the attenuator on, so it would transmit even a bit further, but I have my reasons why I have it like that. So it does convert down the FM signal to 10.7 megahertz. And of course, if you get the receiver close enough to the circuit, you can pick it up because it's like a small rebroadcast or translator circuit. Okay, so fine, everything fine. But now what I figured out, let me tune into, let's say, the beginning or a low frequency on the FM dial. And now there isn't a station. This is a bare spot. I mean, maybe you can hear the static, but there's no signal there. But two things I noticed. First, if there is no signal, shouldn't the needle be on 0, hence there is no signal? And second, I noticed that if I get my receiver close to the circuit board, there is a signal. It's like a transmitter on 10.7, and this is definitely wrong. There should not be a signal. There is a signal, it's like it's broadcasting its own signal, and this is pretty much also what I noticed in my tests. When I have a weak station, the front end seems to pick it up and convert it down to 10.7. But somewhere here, I guess it's somewhere here in this area, something is self-oscillating and pushing away the signal from the converter, and so you don't pick up the signal that you otherwise would pick up. To prove my point further, I have this small, tiny FM, pretty beaten radio, and this works just like this radio here. So you have the dial here, and you can tune it. I won't do it because it's very touchy to adjust, and I was glad to get it to 90 megahertz, but you can tune it here analog. It's like this, it's like not with buttons, digital frequency set, it's analog. You tune it, and how this works is, this one here measures the frequency from the local oscillator, and based on the frequency from the local oscillator, it does give you a frequency readout. You can notice when I get my hand close to it, it changes. So this affects it already. And on a radio where you have to dial in the frequency, like on this one, you can dial it in digital. The frequency will stay rock solid. It won't change unless you change it with the dialing wheel or the frequency wheel or however you name that. Okay, what I want to demonstrate is this radio also works with 10.7 megahertz IF. Just like this radio, this one has a bit more components, I guess, but in the principle, they work the same. So if this radio here would work exactly like the same, if I held my receiver close to the said radio, there should be a signal, but see, I can hold it directly here, nothing. To prove that this radio does indeed work on 10.7 megahertz, I have set up a little thingy. I have a very strong, as in when it's close to my devices, it's very strong, small FM transmitter here. This is a FM transmitter. It's tuned to 90 megahertz, and let's tune the radio here. Watch the needle as I turn on the transmitter. As soon as I apply power to the circuit, you can see the needle is at 5. And now, if I turn the volume up, push here.
Hast du eine Zweitfrau?
Aber Lisa, dafür den idealen Zweitfernseher, den Samsung Flat TV.
Rickson, du bist mein Erster.
Morgens 9:30 in Deutschland. Da trifft man auf.
So this proves that what you can hear is being broadcasted from a cassette player through the FM transmitter, and it's picked from this. The radio picks it up here, the homebuilt radio, and plays it through the speaker. Obvious. But this is not what I wanted to show, because this radio also is tuned to 90 megahertz, whilst this receiver here is still on 10.7. To prove the point that this radio also converts the signal down to 10.7, I'm going to place it close to the antenna of my receiver, and it does pick it up. And now if I push play, you can hear the cassette from this receiver, because it's transmitted to the radio, down converted from 90 megahertz to 10 to this frequency, and then you can listen to it. Okay, let's have a listen. As you can notice,
Auf Pannenhelfer, auf Dirigenten und auf ihr Frühstückchen. Knoppers, frisch und knusprig gebacken.
very old commercials that you just did have in the radio, and as you can see, it works. But unlike this radio where there is a signal on 10.7 when there shouldn't be a signal on 10.7, this one only makes a signal on 10.7 when there is a station it picks up. So this one's working properly, and this one's having a fault somewhere in here. I'm pretty sure I can find where the fault is. I already have a suspicion where it could be, but I'm wondering, did the person who ever built this, I mean, I know the person personally who built this, did he make a mistake with the components, which is something that I doubt, because he's a very skilled electronics person, or into electronics, and he has a lot of skill, or is there something wrong with the circuit? I have a feeling it's the second thing. Of course, I did alignments. I aligned the antenna circuit. I did all the alignments. I aligned these coils, but I can't get it to stop self-oscillating. But yeah, this, aside from that, this is the radio kit. If you live in an area that has local radio stations, you can definitely use it. It has a very good audio quality. It does work very well. It's a bit pricey, but you pay a lot of money, and in return you get a good kit that allows you to listen to radio stations, and eventually you will even learn a bit about how the stuff works, because in the manual there is also a rough description, like round about what is this thing doing, what is that thing doing, how it works. Okay, I've made a video about this thing a month ago in German, and this is your international version of it, because before I eventually modify it, I wanted to get you to know this kit before I modify it. Okay, so this is the kit, and thank you a lot for watching. Best regards and best greetings from Stefan.